You've seen this video, Ogrania, Unavailable, Rema, Common Person by Burna Boy, One Damo, The Maven Crew, Bounce by Rema. There's something very special with all these videos that you might not know subconsciously. And this is the art direction of these videos. Like, these videos look amazing. Sometimes you might think, oh, mad camera. No, it's not the camera. It's the art. And we have someone responsible for that with us in the studio today. Welcome, Anita, Ashiru.
Hello, everybody.
That was a good intro.
You did well. You did well.
How do you feel about when you spend so much budget in like building a set and then you have to crash it?
That's like really heartbreaking. Oh my gosh. Or especially when that set only appears for like 3 seconds. Oh my goodness. I'm like, don't you guys want to shoot more? Are you sure? Are you sure we should strike this set? And that happened on a project for running, Ladipo and because we built like this massive amphitheater and we spent like 5 days building this thing because it was massive. And we loved it so much that after the shoot, we're like, just to strike it, everybody had to sit down to really think about it. Like, are we really going to strike this set that we spent 5 days to build? But then, that's what it is. Like, we create things for the sake of a visual, to make it really unique, to make it look special, to take people to take the audience to like a different world, right? And it's just for that sake of that particular visual. And because we know we don't really have like storage, we have a big storage problem in Nigeria. So even storing these things, and where do you want us to store this massive amphitheater? Yeah. There's nowhere to store it. Or when we built a private jet for this Infinix commercial, I was like, I cannot strike this. I was like, I cannot strike this. I even said, okay, how about selling it to people that want it as an installation? So I started considering different options, but at the end of the day, it was created for the purpose of that visual. So we just had to strike it, and it's really painful, but yeah.
And another thing I always say is that when most people like feel bad about striking your set, like we forget that we've given that set immortality in video form.
Yes, exactly. So it lives on somewhere. Somewhere. So it's not entirely a loss.
It's not entirely a loss. I'm going to give you 3 options to choose one.
Okay.
Or no, 2 or 3 options. You can only choose one.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
Can I pass?
No, you cannot pass. You must answer. No, they're not so difficult now. It's just very simple. So, which you rather shoot? A feature film, a music video, or a commercial? You have one date, and these 3 briefs are there. Which will you pick? Feature film, music video, or a commercial?
We'll go for the money commercial.
Okay, nice one. Would you rather have a great colorist work on your project or a great cinematographer?
Both.
No, you can only choose one.
That's tough. They are both equally important.
Yeah. Okay, let me put it this way.
Okay.
You have $5,000. Would you rather pay a cinematographer
or you split it in half and beg them?
Choose one.
I'll say, please come and collect 2,500.
No, for real, choose one. Which one?
Okay, I think I'll make the colorist the problem of the director. I'll choose a cinematographer.
Okay.
Because there's nothing more beautiful than a cinematographer that gets to really capture your art direction, like the way it's supposed to be captured. Yeah, so I think I'll go with.
And then I'll also say cinematographer because have you seen like Rec 709 from what the cinematographer just shot without it being graded? Sometimes you like,
sometimes it looks
exactly. What else are we looking for?
Exactly. So and if it's looking too flat, like what will the colorist do? If this lighting is not right, what will the colorist do?
You can't really do so much. Yeah. So would you rather take an outdoor shoot, a completely outdoor shoot, or a completely indoor shoot?
I love indoor shoots because it allows, I love creating spaces that feel like, indoor. I'll choose indoor.
Indoor shoots.
Yeah, indoor.
Okay. Would you rather build a location, build a set, or prop up a location? You have unlimited budget.
Unlimited budget, build.
Build.
Yes.
You rather build.
Yes.
Why?
Unlimited budget. You can create anything. Like you're not.
What
really
if that
restricted.
exact thing you want to create already exists?
If it exists, okay. But if it doesn't, even if it exists, there's many restrictions the location would give you. They will tell you, oh, you can. Imagine you're building a mansion and you're able to tear the walls, move the walls apart when you want to film this certain way. You want to remove the you can actually do crazy stuff now. You can even blow it up. I feel like you can actually do more crazy stuff when you build.
True.
And there's no restriction. Nobody's like, oh, you cannot knock my nails. You cannot.
Oh, I used to feel people's pain whenever that happens.
You cannot do this. You cannot do that. Oh, you have to paint it back. Oh, you did not get the color right. Like, it's so annoying. But if you're building from scratch, unlimited budget, I'll build. Well, I'll build.
So you can do and undo.
Exactly. You do and undo. You can change it up. You can, like, it's more creative freedom for even the director. Like, you have more fun. Like, choosing that kind of space, there's no restriction. You can say, you know what, let's tear this wall apart, let's do this, let's do that, let someone punch the hole. Like, you cannot think of really like interesting things that can be done with the space. So I think I would go for building.
Okay, makes sense. Now, this one is an attack question.
Oh my God.
Why are people so expensive? Why is art so expensive? You know, there are a lot of times I'll send like budget sheets to my client and be like, what is this? Why is this on half of the entire budget?
Because I mean, it's art direction. It's literally your entire visual design, which I feel like is one of the most important elements in film, right? You're creating stuff. You don't want it to look the same as any other project. You want it to look really unique, right? And that's what it is, man. Art department. This is even excluding fees. Like, this is actually, sometimes you think that people are taking the money. No, materials are so expensive. You want to build wood alone. One 3/4 plywood is like 16.5, 16.9. That's almost 17K for just one plywood. And you need how many? And then you like, so it's expensive, and it's expensive for good quality. And I mean, it's what you want. It's what you want.
Makes sense. We agree. We are really come to an acceptance that art is expensive. I mean, so if you want to film anything, just know that your art budget, if it's not dope,
you should be worried.
You should be worried, exactly. Did you ever think of being like a director?
No.
You've never ever dreamt of being a director?
Nope. Which is weird, and many times my friends tell me that, oh, you can direct, but I just think that it has never been my passion. Like, ever since I can remember, I've always been a creative, and I always just had the eye for the creatives, you know. Directing is also a creative role, but I think my interest just lies within like the actual visual style and the design, as opposed to like the technical directing. So I think that's what I'm more comfortable doing, and that is what I'm happy doing. Maybe one day, I highly doubt, but maybe one day I'll venture into directing. But I really think that our direction has not really been maximized, especially in Nigeria. There's still so much we can, there's so much to still cover in our direction in Nigeria, production design. There's so much to learn. There's so much we can still do. And I feel like, why do I need to go to another area of film? Why not really work on this this department and really like help in expanding and help in growing this industry in Nigeria? So that's really where my passion is.
Dope. Because I'm surprised that you've never felt like, I should be a director, because most people in the film industry, one way or the other, have always wanted to be a director.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
true.
you're like, okay, I like this other part too. Let me do art direction. You get. So how did you, since you said you've never wanted to direct, how did you like, what exposed you to like art direction in general? Because most people don't even know what that is in the first place. They don't even know that department exists. I mean, most rookies or just getting new to filmmaking. So how did you like come across or get exposed to art direction?
I'd be honest, before I came into art direction, I also had no idea what art direction was. Growing up, I've always been that person. Like, I used to, in secondary school, I used to do events in school, stage plays, and I used to be the one to like set up the stage, but I didn't know it was called set design. I just used to be the one to get the things that I feel would work for our film, for our play. And I was always that person bringing people together, bringing things together, making sure, almost like a project manager, but for the creatives. And when a friend of mine, Dami Twitch, this was, I think, late 2019, thereabout, he just brought me on a project to just supervise. It was very, and honestly, I didn't know what art direction was, just to supervise. And I just found myself drawn to that department, you know, making sure like the art was looking good. And I still didn't know what it was called, art direction. Just making sure it was looking good, making sure we had the right things. At the time, he was working with somebody. So it was just me supervising that person and what that person was bringing on set. And I was just drawn to it. And I asked him, what's this about? And then he told me, it's called art direction. I'm like, okay. Then he's like, read up on it. I was like, okay. And at the time I was in marketing, like that's where my background is. And I decided to read up on it. I'm like, this is actually interesting. Like, I didn't realize that there was a thing. And especially because a lot of art directors don't talk about their work, and that's what the industry did. And I feel like now social media is helping us break away from that, where art directors feel like their work is not so important for them to talk about. They feel like the director is the one that should take the shine on a project, but then a lot of work is done by the art department, like a lot of the bringing together the visual. So me, I just took that upon myself. I'm like, I can't work this hard and not talk about it. Yeah. So I just started talking about my experiences as I was learning and as I was growing. I was talking about it, and I started attracting people. I was attracting even foreign art directors that would reach out to me. Hey, like if you need anything, let me know. So I would schedule calls with them, seek some advice, learn from them. During the pandemic, I used that period to really learn. I learned so much, at the same time, thankfully, I'd already kind of built a small team. Yeah. So we're getting stronger. You learn, you pass it onto your team and make sure everybody's learning together. What we learn, we get to practice it. And I think my background as a strategist also allows me plan, like a really good plan. And I think that's one of the skills that art directors really need, like planning and coordinating a team. And I feel like everything kind of that I've gone through, everything that I've done, like from secondary school to university till even marketing till now, has kind of prepared me for this role. As everything has come together, because there's no knowledge lost. I studied journalism in university and I learned how to research, and that's a skill that I use very, very, very much in art direction, because you have to do a lot of research, references. Where's this reference coming from? Yeah. What does what does this image represent? What are you trying to communicate in your visual? So I feel like every single thing I have done along the line has actually prepared me for the role that I'm in right now. So as I said, I didn't know what art direction was. It was almost like me chasing a passion and almost making sense of everything I've done. And it makes sense. Like, I'm like, okay, this is where I think I should be. And to be honest, I've been doing this for like now more than 4 years, and I still have a long way to go. I'm sure that there are some things that I haven't really even learned or even discovered yet about art direction or production design. But like, again, it's a learning process, and there's so much room for growth.
So quick one, what most people are mostly confused about? Like, I'll not even lie, I was confused about what art direction fully meant till 2021. I was not fully clear. Like, I had an idea, but I was not fully clear what it is. So can you help us kind of like break it down? What is art direction? What's production design? What is set design? Like, there's just so many terms in that area. There's another one they call it
set dressing, props master.
Set dress. Like, it's just so much. If as fast as you can, just break it down.
So I think I'll start with it like crown. That's the production design. So production design, basically, how I define it, is like the gold dust that transports an audience into like a different universe. So it's about world building. It's about visually like creating a world that only exists in a visual. I don't know if that's really explaining it. So production design, you're responsible for, creating the world, the aesthetic, the visual style. Let's say, I'm going to use an example, I think, to make it easier to understand. So let's look at Black Panther, the creation of Wakanda and creating the landscapes of Wakanda, the kind of atmosphere in Wakanda, the kind of dressing in Wakanda, down to even like the scars of Wakanda. You know how Nigerians have, like, Yoruba people have like tribal marks. It's like creating that even in that detail and building an entire world and making it real. Because people would think Wakanda is real and exists somewhere, right? Down to where the mountains are in the landscape, down to how the homes look in Wakanda. That when you see that a Wakandan home anywhere else, you're like, oh, that looks like a Wakandan home, right? The architecture, the landscape, the structure.
How do they build their houses?
Exactly. And then you now bring it, like, that is now on the bigger scale. And then you now bring it down and trickle it down to actual sets that you're bringing your characters in. So let's say you're a character in this film, let's say this film is called Wakanda, let's say it's Black Panther. Who are you as a person? What's your personality? You build a world around that person's personality. What kind of art do they like in their house? Are they classy, or are they rugged? Or if you're trying to portray a man as an evil man, how do you bring out that without saying too much? If you want to portray a man as a lazy man, how do you bring that out in your production design without having to say it in a dialogue? Like, just visually looking at it, you can tell that, oh, this man is very lazy and just lives a repeated lifestyle. But you can communicate all of that through production design. So a production designer basically is now the person that thinks through all of these details, right, and develops it into something that makes sense.
Now, so this is not necessarily physically yet, like on paper.
On paper. So the person is working. So a production designer works not only with the director to understand the director's vision, but also works with the costumer. Yeah. Okay, this is kind of look at what we're going for this world and for each character.
Sorry to break you in. I think most people like also miss that a lot in here. Like the costume and wardrobe is still supposed to work with the
production designer. Yes. Yeah. So you work with the costumer, even hair and makeup, because I was watching a documentary on Barbie the other day, and they talked about even down to like understanding the kind of makeup. They wanted the makeup to look really plastic and really flat, and because they are dolls, so they need to look like dolls, right? So even down to that detail of the kind of makeup, the colors for the makeup. Also working with even the colorist, if possible, like early on in the entire plan, to develop color schemes, to be like, okay, this is the world we're building, and we want to build a very cold and very like quiet or very scary atmosphere. Like you have to plan it in advance. Then okay, you're working with maybe blues or grays or dull tones, and then maybe as the story progresses and maybe the character kind of evolves, we can see the shift in the color scheme as well. And that is really intentional production design. So you have to work like collectively with the entire team. Now, an art director in a typical like working production works under the production designer. Now more is in charge of now the art of executing the art direction. So you see like there are different HODs here. There's the production designer, there's the art director, there's the costumer, there's the makeup, and there's the hair, and there's the cinematographer, and there's the director, and there's the da-da-da. You get, so the art director now focuses on, okay, this is their direction for the art direction. Let's remove myself from costume as an art director. I'll help my production designer achieve his dreams of the art direction. So as an art director, you're almost like a creative project manager. You've seen the plan and the sketches of your production designer. You know what needs to be created. You know what needs to be built. You know what needs to be sourced for. You now pull together a team as an art director. So an art director is the one that hires the carpenter, is the one that hires the painters, the scenic artists, the props masters, the set dressers, the whoever that they feel like, according to the brief they've been given, they feel like they need to bring together that project. And basically the art director now directs the art department, leads the art department, right? Does the budget, because they're the ones bringing all these people. Now the art director is also a visionary and is also a creative lead, right? Understands that, okay, needs to be very in sync with the production designer. Okay, this is what the production designer wants, because the production designer has so much they're dealing with. Like they don't have time to come on set and start dressing. So the art director is the one that kind of directs the art, right? They know what the production designer wants, the director wants, and they're able to actually execute under the jurisdiction of the production designer, right? So the art director now hires a team of, let's say, the props master. The props master is someone that's responsible for just sourcing for the key props. So a prop are the items in a script that a character kind of interacts with. The props that are actually like stated. Oh, the character walks into the room and grabs his camera. The camera is a prop. But he walks into the room, he walks through a door. That's not a prop. That's his set dressing. Or he walks and the camera is on a table. That table is not a prop, it's a set dressing. But the item that he interacts with is the prop. So the prop master's role is to get all the props for a production. That is if for a big scale film production, right? Now the set dressers, so the set dressers are the people that set and that source for the dressing, like the tables, the furniture, the frames on the wall, the TV, the plants, the flooring, all of that. So they're set dressers, they source for all these things and they dress under the direction of the art director, who gets his instruction or has instruction from the production designer, right? Then there are props makers. So props makers are like those people that are very crafty. They're really good at like creating stuff with their hands, or they can build a robot, or they can build a remote control this. So those props that are quite unique that you can't easily just source, right? So you need to actually make them. And you see a lot of props making in like a film like Wakanda, because it's world building. You're building something from
so you
scratch.
Can't just go and grab it or get
Exactly. So who else am I missing? And then also there's construction team that's under the art department. So a construction team, you have like a bunch of carpenters, but it's led by your lead carpenter. So your lead carpenter would be the person that you are directly like speaking with about dimensions, about textures, about materials, about all these details that has to do with building. that person is not the one that works with their own carpenters. Your painter, sometimes the painter can come under the construction team, but someone like me, I like working with like a different painting team.
Yeah.
So I work with like a painter that understands scenic painting. And what I mean by scenic painting is if you want a place to look kind of aged and textured as opposed to looking fresh and new, this person is able to actually age paint, and it looks like, oh, this paint work has been done 50 years ago. It looks peeled off and everything. Not everybody knows how to do that. And again, we are still getting there in Nigeria, but it's something that at least we have people willing to learn. So you brief your scenic painter that, okay, we're creating a world set in a dystopian universe that has been destroyed by, I don't know. So you give your painter context and you're able to show them your mood board. So your painter now understands the kind of paint, the kind of color. You work with your color schemes with you. So everything, as I've mentioned, it's a lot, right? And I mentioned so many people
You're giving us masterclass. This is Art Direction Masterclass. Even to subscribe to this channel.
So yes, I think I've done. I've answered the question.
That was very very detailed. Honestly, myself actually like learnt like quite a bit. But it's very annoying that all this like departments, all these roles that you just mentioned, most times it's collapsed to just maybe like 3 people in Nigerian sets.
Exactly.
And we expect the magic of Hollywood.
Exactly.
But as you said, we're getting there.
We're actually getting there.
So we get there. So I wanted to ask, like, what's like the step-by-step process of getting Anita onboarded on the project? What are the things you do to like get on the project? Like if someone reaches out to you, okay, there's this project we want to shoot. What do you like request for? Or just brief us.
Okay. So personally, everybody has their own different process, but for me, I'd like to first see the brief. So if the brief is something exciting and it's something
So sorry, when you say the brief, that means before director even does the treatment. So
it depends on what you're calling me for. Like if you're calling me and maybe this project is still months away or weeks away, I'd really be happy to see the brief from the beginning. As even before the director does his or her treatment, so that at least I'm already like getting instinct and I can actually have conversation with the director, because most times the director's treatment includes the art direction, right, or the production design, and it's always nice to like bounce off ideas with the director that, hey, like I read this brief and I'm thinking this way, and sometimes you'd find that you actually are in sync with the director, or you can even inspire some thoughts with the director, share some references with the director, get the director excited about working with you on the project, and also gives me time to start sourcing for stuff like, okay, there's a project I'm doing in a few months that I will need this. When I see it, I'm already getting it, or I'm already booking it down. So it allows me also like work in advance. But sometimes I just get the treatment, which is fine. I get the treatment, I go through the treatment. I feel like now it gets to a point where you can be picky with the kind of projects you work on, and you see some treatment that are kind of cliche, like it's been done so many times, and then maybe when it's a cliche treatment, I'm always worried about the budget. I'm like, okay, if there's budget to experiment and actually do something different, do it in a different way, then why not? But then if you're coming to say, oh, we don't really have money, that's already a turn off, right? Because that means you don't think art direction is as important. You just want somebody that can deliver. So the brief is very important for me. Is it an exciting project? Like, is it going to allow me really express my creativity? How is even the approach in conversation from the producer or the director is also very important, especially because there are a lot of producers and a lot of producers in Nigeria that still don't really value art department. They're like, oh, it's not art.
It's
like,
not art.
And I was like, exactly.
Just bring things together.
Exactly. So there's some producers that don't really value the art department. So just from the approach, you'll be able to tell that are these people that you really want to work with, because it's a lot. Art direction and like working as an art director is really, really hectic, because I feel like there are 3 people that make a film, like during production, is the director, the DP, and the art director. It is your film. It is your vision. And if you come on set and your set is looking horrible, you would not shoot. Art department basically is the make or break of your visual. So it's a lot of thinking, a lot of responsibility. So if that respect is not there for the art department from the onset, I would not take that project. Secondly is budget. I've seen your brief and I understand the scale of what you're trying to achieve. And then you come and say, well, we don't have money. Okay, how much do you have? Because from just reading a brief, I can already gauge how much it will cost based off of experience, what I've done, similar briefs I've tackled already. And if you're not willing to even like stretch, obviously there's a level of compromise that will come, but like you don't also want to scale down your ideas too much that you're not doing anything as an art director. They say, and we are getting a location that already has things. Just come and it becomes that, and you're like, well, like that's not what we're here to do.
Yeah.
So your budget is also very important. Like I get the picture you're going for, but like, are you willing to pay the amount of money that would require us to really deliver this level of quality? Because quality is so important. There's a way things will look cheap in a visual, and they say, and it's not just for a film, but like, yeah, sometimes it looks cheap, even if it's just in front of a camera. So yeah, budget is also very important. The team you're working with, like the production team, is also very important, and how willing they are to really compromise and hear your suggestions. Because sometimes you're like, oh, we want to build a set, but you don't have money to build a set. And then you propose, oh, how about we go to a location that is similar? That way we're not building walls, we're not building ceiling. Instead, we're just like dressing. They're like, no, really. So so it's like you're not even willing to really compromise. So once I'm aligned on a project like that, once I'm able to be like, okay, yes, it's good to go, I take the brief, I speak to the director. Very, very important, have a conversation with the director. If a DOP is on board at the time, you have a conversation with the DOP, and then I do my mood board. So the mood board is basically now me fleshing out the director's treatment, my own ideas as well. Let's say the script doesn't really give context to the space, and I'm able to give context to the space. Oh, this place used to be an abandoned factory 20 years. I can give it personality, something that the director doesn't necessarily even need to say. But when you're shooting it and this space has a bit of history, it feels more interesting even visually for you to capture. So doing things like that, then also like presenting to the director, working with the team, presenting to the client if they're good with it. I'm facing the client, who is the director, producers, and I'm also facing my team. So once I have a direction and I do a mood board, I'm also trickling this thing down to my team. I already know who is leading. So how I run my team is, I have a lot of different people. Well, not that many, but like I have people in my team, and I put like leads. So there's a team lead per project. In that way, I'm able to do multiple projects and plan for multiple projects. So a team lead already gets the brief as I'm getting it. So the person is like my second right hand, like the person is like the next person. So as soon as I get a project and I have a date and I have my mood board, the person is getting it. I start saying who I want, because I already know my team, like how, and then we have our own meeting internally, take them through everything. We plan internally, we do our recce's, we plan. So when I do a recce, I now do like another recce in my team, and another mood board with my team that's now more directly in line with the recce. So that way everybody knows exactly what they are doing. So if there's any update from production, I already know who I'm telling that update to. And that responsibility is not just on one person. It's not just on me, because I have a team that I've delegated to. So that's why I said, an art director is a good planner. Like, you need to be a project manager. Like, if not, there's so many details that you'd miss.
Just miss out.
Exactly.
Where is the...
You're like, where is this? And you're like, oh my God.
Oh my God, start running to...
Exactly. And we really sometimes don't have that time. And so because I'm also a production designer, I'm always involving myself in production design. Like, I always want to know what the costume is doing. I always want to, and luckily for me, like some of the projects I've worked with, I get to be production designer, so I get to really talk to and work with the costume departments. And the costume departments, they are basically also, they kind of head makeup and hair. So once we align on costume, the costumer is able to really like translate this to the makeup and hair as well. So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah. You did like very, very detailed. So, quick question: how do you strike like the balance between like a director's vision and your own creative expression? Sometimes, maybe the director already did these treatments, and maybe you sent in your mood board, and I'm like, oh no, you are trying to like push like an idea, and probably you're not saying it the exact same way as you. How do you like manage such situation?
I'm trying to think if that has happened to me.
Or maybe not even with the client. Maybe not with the director. Maybe it might be the client, because this happens most times with the client.
If it's happens with the client, this is how to do it. Okay. You team up with the director. Because that is it. Like, before I even do my mood board, I understand the director's vision. Yeah. Like, I want to understand, okay, this director's vision, this is the mood. And then when developing the mood board, I'm developing it around the director's vision. So most times, director and I would be aligned, because we're not working as islands. We're working together, right? And even before it gets to the client's table, me and the director we've gone back and forth. We've even seen the location that we want to work with. We've already figured out how everything will play out, everything. So if the clients are still not seeing it, I feel like it's not just only my responsibility to really sell it, you know. I think what concerns clients a lot is the fact that they feel like this thing is not really well thought out. But if you're able to back it up with research, if you're able to show them actual references on how it looked in another previous film, even if it's not exactly, but something similar, I think and I understand when clients panic. They panic out of inexperience and also panic out of, can you guys actually do this thing that you're telling us that you can do? You guys want to build this, like, are you sure you can build it? Then you show them, oh yeah, I've built something similar before. You show them what you built. It gives them that confidence that, okay. And then just giving them that extra boost of confidence that, okay, we can have options. So again, another thing is also compromise. Yeah, you have your creative direction. Your client also has their worries. Sometimes you can we can present options on set. In case you still don't like what it looks like, we can always switch to what you want. Most times they would not even go to what they option because they've now seen it. They're now seeing it in person. So I feel like it's really about understanding how to deal with people and manage expectations and communicate. Communication is very important. There's a project that I worked on, I think a few months ago, and the client was so involved in my pre-production and everything. And I could just tell that it was based off of experience of being disappointed in the past. So, at that point, they don't want to just hear you talk about how you would deliver. They want to see you deliver. So on set, they had to say, oh, wow, like, I have had no reason to complain. Thank you. And I could understand. I'm like, okay, it's not, they've probably gone through something in the past and they are trying to...
What do they call it? PTSD.
See, even I have been through a lot. So yes, also like managing your client's expectation, communicating with them. If there's a challenge and anything would change, communicate. What I try to do is communicate early to the director, producer, so they're able to communicate to the client. Another example, I recently did another project for a really big brand. They even flew, when they fly all people from abroad and everything. So last minute they made a request, and this request, okay, yes, cool. But I let them know, I'm like, yes, this is a request I'm going to try working on. But in case I cannot deliver, it's either we scrap it or we compromise on something. Maybe we change the size or we change something that we can easily do in 24 hours. They're like, okay, show us what you can do. You understand? So they just want to see. So once they saw like the alternative, they're like, oh, this also works. Because at the end of the day, what is your intention? Why do you need it? Oh, you want a backdrop to do what exactly? You don't want it to be plain. Okay, instead of doing this, that will take up a lot of money, a lot of time. How about we do this? It still solves the problem that you're trying to. Also coming up with alternatives for them is also really helpful as well. So yeah, working together as a team is also very important. And I feel like there won't really be issues at the end of the day.
Can you name it can be local, it can be foreign, like 5 films that you really love. Oh no, okay, let's say 3. Okay. That you really love and that the production design actually stood out for you, and why did they actually stand out?
In terms of world building, that is like creating something, a world that didn't exist until that film, I'd say I have 3. Avatar, Woman King, and Black Panther.
So no Nigerian film on your list.
I've not gotten there. And that's because like for you to be able to build a world that we start watching and we almost get lost in that world, that we believe that place exists somewhere. Every single detail, the colors, the textures, even like, when you watch Woman King, even like the attires they're wearing that has like inscriptions, everything was created just to sell that world. Like, I mean, the amount of research that would go into that kind of building, like world building, down to even the food that you're eating, down to, I know Woman King was like inspired by true events, but then at the end of the day, they were not real references. Right? So it's really just pulling from books and actually being very imaginative, and what books are telling you, being able to actually imagine this thing in real life and actually create something that feels so real that you believe that, oh, this was Oyo Empire. Like, that to me is beautiful production design. And I mean, also production design that aids good storytelling. I'd say a film like The Great Gatsby, they wanted to create the Gatsby mansion and they didn't find a place that would give them the scale of that wealth they're trying to portray, and they built it on a sound stage. That was, you know what that is? Down to the swimming pool, down to everything was built on a sound stage. That is beautiful production design, because you're like, you need to really show extreme wealth. And I don't really think there's anybody's place I've seen that can allow us really have that extreme wealth. Let's build it. And then you create that, and you create that world of Gatsby, and it looks so real and believable. I mean, that's production design. Locally, let me think.
It doesn't have to be a film. It can be like a commercial or music video or
I would say, and it's a project I worked on.
Yeah.
There's this Guinness commercial, Black Shines Brightest.
Yeah.
That was shot in.
I wouldn't say that's a Nigerian project.
It was a Nigerian project, but like the production designer was from South Africa, and I worked in the art department to help execute. And like, I mean, watching it is just so fascinating. Like, and I think just knowing like everything that we created from scratch, and it looks so beautiful. I mean, I think that I'll say that that's my favorite. So,
okay, so that's 4. Okay, so just one Nigerian project. Okay, no, wow.
I'm not thinking fast.
This is fine. I'm just trying to set you up. So, how do you handle like tight deadlines on a project? And what is the tightest deadline you would not work with? Like, if this happens, okay, I can't do it.
It depends on the scale of project. Like, so let me answer the last question first, then I'll talk about how I handle tight deadlines. So if a project that I know would ideally take me, just to conceptualize, because I like research, like I take my time to develop ideas and to actually like conceptualize. And if you're coming to me with like a really big project and you want me to do that in 2 days, I'm going to say no. I need at least a week to conceptualize. I can actually crash that if production has done some work. Or if when you're coming to me, you're giving me locations, you're giving me everything. Like, and you're telling me, okay, we're shooting end of next week. So you're giving me at least a week and a half, right, to really properly plan. Then maybe it depends again on the scale of the project. But you're coming to me 2 days before a project, 3 days before a project. I don't even want to know. I'll just be like, nope. Because at the end of the moment you say yes, especially for our department, you're in soup.
Yeah, soup.
Like, it's all over. The whole world is crashing down. You are like the messiah. Like everything, anything that goes wrong is your fault, right? So also allowing planning. Like as I said, planning is very important for me. And if I'm not able to plan market sourcing, even as simple as when money is dropped, when they need to go for market runs, and I like it to be kind of accurate. It's like I don't just collect money and say, okay, go to the market and figure it out. It has to kind of be accurate, so everybody knows the materials they're getting, how much you're taking to the market, how much is going to be spent, also for recon sake. So a lot of things, if it's rushed, you can't really be that detailed, and you forget the little details that make up the project, and then you after collecting our money.
I guess.
How I deal with tight deadlines again is just being a good manager and communicating with my team and also with production. There are times where I'd want a set to be ready as early as 7 a.m. on shoot day, but something happens overnight that I can already tell that 7 a.m. is not possible. This one will be ready at 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. I quickly call the AD. Before the producer, I called the AD. I'm like, hi. So your schedule, is it flexible? That's the first question. How flexible is your schedule? Oh, okay, can you start with this instead? I can have this ready. So it's also about compromise and trying to, deadlines are deadlines. You still have to make it work. But like everybody should be willing to work together and compromise, because everybody's also on a tight deadline. So if you say, okay, I can get scene 5 ready before scene 1. Is it okay to start with scene 5? Please, can you find a way to maybe give your actors an earlier call time for whatever? Please, I need those extra hours to get it done. So communicating is also very important. Communicating with my team and also managing expectations to clients. I'll tell them from the beginning, with this your timeline, this is what is possible. Scrap out your insane ideas. They're lovely, but it's not possible with your deadline. But this is what we can give you with this, and we will deliver it properly. And that's how I manage it. I communicate. I manage from the beginning. I let you know, let's scale down on this. We can amp up this so that they don't really feel like they're at a complete loss. Oh, you want this thing to be 60 feet? How about we make it 20 feet? We can make 20 feet work, right? Director, don't you think we can make 20 feet work? That's we can make 20 feet work, But like, this other one, we can actually make it bigger now. Okay, let's make this one bigger instead. So people will be mad, we can even have more people, You make them even more excited about like the things that you're cutting down, so that they don't feel like, oh wow, the product will now lose its value or lose its this. So I think that's basically how I deal with it.
What would you say are like some common misconceptions about the role of an art director in filmmaking that you love to clarify?
I think just not understanding the different roles that are in art. And it's not everybody. I'd say there's some where they don't really know that a set designer is different from an art director. An art director is different from an art runner. An art runner is different from a painter. The painter is different from the carpenter. Another thing is not understand that an art director is an HOD. Because most times there's no production designer, especially in Nigeria. It's just an art director. And another thing is that if you're hiring an art director, and ideally you're supposed to already have your designs that the art director is implementing. But what would you find, right? You'd find that they'll call you an art director, but you're the one developing your mood board. You're the one basically doing the design, but they're still calling you an art director because they don't want to call you a production designer. They don't want you to feel special, right? But you're still the one. But it's another thing I'd even urge now, this is me speaking to people that call themselves production designers, right? You need to be more involved than just the set alone, the art direction alone. You need to be as involved as costume, because now that's what makes you a production designer. It's not just about you putting together a mood board and you say, oh, I did the production design. No, you didn't. All you did was just art direction with extra, right? Yeah. But when you bold build, down to even understanding color schemes, working with you, as I said earlier, I'm not going to really repeat myself. Rewind.
They should rewind. I'll put the timestamp here. Go and watch that part.
Go and watch that part. Talk about how you collaborate with the different departments. That is production design, not just art direction alone, you know. So most times you do production design, but you are being referred to as an art director. Just also respect for the art department. I mean, yes, there are people that are sweeping and there are people that are carrying stuff and there are people that are looking the most raggedy because of all the work they've done days before. But doesn't mean that like you should really look down on them. There are people actually bringing your visual together. So, and also another thing is, I don't know if it's a misconception, but it's already a problem that I feel that needs to be kind of solved, is carrying your art department along. If there are any changes to location last minute, or if there's anything that has come up, communicate. I feel that the first people you need to talk to is your art department. Like, you need to let them know that at this occasion we reckon that we've planned for and we've spent money on and we've built and it's not what we're using anymore. We're going somewhere else. And you need to actually allow the art director be the one to actually go, you know, can this location work? Involve the art director, involve the art department. I feel like that is what aids good success. You involve everybody that is responsible for the actual visual look. Also, another thing is, there's some projects I would work on and the costumer is like working as an island. Like, even if
very common.
There's a WhatsApp group, just drop that mood board. Let's also have a feel of the style, you know, like there's some, especially music videos where you see like, maybe this woman is wearing a gele and a rare outfit and she's wearing high boots and she's wearing sunglasses. Like, there's a merge between, like, sometimes it can be that crazy because you know how styling for music, and you want to know that that's the kind of style. So even when you're designing this space, you're like, oh yeah, this is kind of vibe. I can bring in a bit of modern, I can bring in a bit of traditional, and I can create a space. So allowing it also allows the art director also open their minds and things. I don't really think it's a misconception, but it's just a thing that I feel needs to be worked on. And I think that is it. Like, I feel like now people are actually getting used to having the art department. So I think that it's getting better, but I think it could be much, much more better. Like, makes much sense. Better. And,
I was watching like a video about how the production design and the art department use like miniatures to like create a world. I remember when you're talking about it, but I forgot to ask, like, is this something you've explored or you're looking to explore?
Well, as I said, there's so much I need to learn. Like, that's something that I want to go into learning. That's miniature sets. So you build miniature sets. Let's say you can use it for actual production itself, you know, with the probe lens, and like you can shoot, like, you know, especially when they do like mountains and stuff like that on a green screen or whatever. You can build it as a miniature, like a big scale miniature, and you can shoot on that. I also want to learn how to create miniatures because it allows me think bigger. So you're able to build like an entire world, like landscapes, like, you know, the landscape of the world is mostly landscape. So you're building the landscape, the mountains, where like the hero houses. So also, if sometimes when a project, and that's why it's always good for early planning. So imagine if, you know, you're working on a big project a year in advance. You have the time to do miniatures of each every
of all the extabs.
Exactly, before spending money in doing it on a larger scale. So you know, okay, this is exactly how we're building it. This is how everything is going to work out. This is how it's going to look. So you just translate that into reality. Or sometimes they even shoot it like as it is, like, but that's mostly like landscape with like a green screen backdrop to establish like environments and stuff. So I feel like that's another level of art direction on production design, and that is like miniature artists. I feel like there are people that are specific, like, but it's always good as an art director, production designer, to have these different skills, right? It's always very good. Like, I mean, no knowledge is lost.
Knowledge is lost, obviously. What will you say is your like most challenging project to date? And can you tell us a little bit about? I know there's always that project.
I'm trying to think because there's so many. Like, every project comes with its different challenges that sometimes at the end of the project you're like, I survived. I thought I was gonna die. maybe actually the most recent that was kind of challenging was Mondamo. And maybe because of the location that we used was, defense building. And defense building is like this, there are no elevators, like this abandoned place. So going up and down, and there was like a 3 days shoot. So we had to create a prison. It was fun. Like those are the kind of projects I love. But it was really, really like, challenging because like, as we created a different, like an entirely different world, and also the time frame to do that was really short.
Yeah.
So we were doing it like, it's like rush hour, like everybody was going into the market, everybody was coming out straight to location to create. But again, it was really fulfilling because at the end of the day we watched it and I love the video. Like you watch the video and I'm like, whoa, I did that. It feels like a real prison. Real prison. You created every single space that you see there, like everything was created. So I feel like at the end of the day it was really like worth everything. But yeah, that was really, really challenging, and just thankful for my team again. Like my team really held it down. As an art director, your team needs to be strong. Your team is your biggest asset.
Yeah.
And most times I consider my team when I take up projects, right? I call each and every one of them. I'm like, hi, okay, there's someone that's calling. We don't have time to plan. How are you feeling? So if I'm able to get that confidence from my team, I'm like, yeah, we'll run it. But if they are worried, I respect that, and I'd most likely turn down the project, not because of me, but because the people that I'm going to work with to execute are not feeling confident, and that is really important. I won't force it. So yeah, that's one thing I learned from even like all this like very high pressure. Always work at it together as a team. Like everybody is in it together. If one person is slacking, the other person is like helping them pick up their slack. And again, as I said, your team is your biggest asset. You're able to work. If you feel like dying, don't worry. You and your team will drag each other out of that. Like you guys will be fine. Like because you're doing it together as a team, and that's very, very important. So, yeah.
Finally, what would you say to someone who's watching this video right now and is being inspired to become an art director?
Okay, I'd say just start small. Find a local director or a photographer. I always believe that you don't really need to. For you to feel like you don't really need to aim for like big directors if you want to start. Like start with your guy that shoots small content. In your house there, you can create a set with the things around you. You can get trash bags and you can create a set from trash bags. You can take foil paper and create a set from foil paper. Create stuff. Go and research on like just random things. You can get balloons and create stuff. Create something and get your friend who's a photographer or a videographer or a director to shoot it, right? Start small and scale up. When I started, as I said, I started with Dami, and we kind of grew together, got to a point where we're just growing together. I didn't say, because I don't know which director was hot at that time. That is who I want to work with.
Yeah.
No, like you start and then you grow and you develop and you learn and you try, you fail. It's like trial and error. Don't be afraid to try. Because we are risk takers. We're the biggest risk takers. The directors will tell you that they want to build a spaceship, and you tell them yes. You've never done it before, but you will figure it out. Yeah. So always knowing that you're a risk taker, and then you can't be a risk taker if you're not willing to fail, right? So that's something I had to learn because I'm a perfectionist. But I had to learn that sometimes it might not go your way, but it will go. It will still go. So start small. Build a small team. If you have a carpenter that is down your streets that you see makes really nice tables and chairs, maybe one day give him something different to make. Maybe give him a car toy to build with wood, and correct him. Tell him that it's not smooth. Build your own team. It starts like that. Like your carpenter can build a chair, and maybe you just go back to him and you give him some correction, and he does that. You're training him to be a set builder. Yeah. You give him something a bit bigger. You would notice that the things that he learned from the last experience building that toy for you, he's able to apply to this new thing. Still correct him, give him something else, right? So build your own team. If you have a friend, a cousin that is a great painter, right, that's looking for ways to channel their skills, introduce them to scenic art, scenic painting, right? Tell them that, there's something called scenic painting, you should check it out, and maybe share some links from YouTube with them for them to understand, you can age paint, you can make it look, you can paint a board to make it look like stones, you can, and then you can have them actually start learning that scenic paint, and that's this person on your team. So build your team slowly. It's really people that people around you, like even your local graffiti artists. Introduce him to the world of art direction and show him see this man music videos, a lot of graffiti. Now we can fix this wall and do something dope. And then you would be surprised. Like, and that's how I feel like you build your team. I built my team from scratch. And then if I want to now add on, I find somebody that has that potential, you train the person and you build. So having your team is very important. Starting small is also very important, but I think just start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not going to have our film village where we can just go walk in and shoot a courtroom or walk in and shoot a church.
Funds.
Yeah, investor now. You can. But I think we actually need that now, like tribute sets where there's already a prison.
I mean, you still need to do like some art direction so that like your film is not the same thing as Bolaji's film.
Because I know that such kind of spaces like exist like outside the country.
But even if like it exists in terms of the structure, and those are like more of iconic places, like the White House. You know, the White House is the White House, but like the way you would dress your office would be slightly different. So like, your film is not looking the same as another person's film. So there still needs to be some level of production design that will still go into the space. But yes, for the structures, that makes sense.
So
like,
you're going to do it, Abby? Soon.
Well, we'll revisit this conversation in a few years.
No, Allah. Thank you, Anita, for coming. Really,
you're welcome.
Me myself, I actually learned a lot, and I hope everyone that watches this video learn as much. Thank you guys for watching. Please help us beg them to subscribe to our channel. We are giving out too much knowledge for low views and subscribers. So thank you very much. I'll see you guys in the next video.
All right, bye guys.